हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला।
Now here's the reality, it's fact not fiction. You are sitting on a plane. You're boarding the plane in the national capital of India for Leh at 6:08 in the morning. It's a SpiceJet plane. 6 minutes into the take, against the backdrop of daybreak and a beautiful sunrise, you suddenly look to your right towards the wings and you see the flames of fire on the wings of the plane. Your plane is on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, these are real visuals. This is the reality that the Civil Aviation Minister does not want you to see. This is the reality SpiceJet does not want you to see. This is the reality DGCA does not want you to see. Because at the cockpit, at that very moment while you're sitting in the plane, there are calls of Mayday, 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 Mayday. That is a flight emergency. The flight circles back. There's engine failure in one of the engines, lands at 6:49 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, and as you get off the plane, you realize this is the same SpiceJet. This is the same SpiceJet that does not have the money to play the Bangladesh government, which is why it had been, I don't know the present situation, not allowed to fly in Bangladeshi airspace. They're out of money. Who is the owner of SpiceJet? This is the same SpiceJet, ladies and gentlemen, when another SpiceJet took off from Patna to Delhi on 19 June 2022. It caught fire soon after taking off from the airport. Flames were seen on the left wing of the aircraft. 2 blades were bent. So you should see the visuals then and now, ladies and gentlemen. Then and now. Look at that and now. Ladies and gentlemen, a SpiceJet plane catches fire in mid-air in December. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is 19 June 2022 and then now. And you are
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है।
अरे मेरे राजा,
रानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, delicious, healthy, every day.
Now here's the reality, it's fact not fiction. You are sitting on a plane. You're boarding the plane in the national capital of India for Leh at 6:08 in the morning. It's a SpiceJet plane. 6 minutes into the take, against the backdrop of daybreak and a beautiful sunrise, you suddenly look to your right towards the wings and you see the flames of fire on the wings of the plane. Your plane is on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, these are real visuals. This is the reality that the Civil Aviation Minister does not want you to see. This is the reality SpiceJet does not want you to see. This is the reality DGCA does not want you to see. Because at the cockpit, at that very moment while you're sitting in the plane, there are calls of Mayday, 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 Mayday. That is a flight emergency. The flight circles back. There's engine failure in one of the engines, lands at 6:49 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, and as you get off the plane, you realize this is the same spice jet. This is the same spice jet that does not have the money to pay the Bangladesh government, which is why it had been, I don't know the present situation, not allowed to fly in Bangladesh.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome. You're watching This Is Exclusive with me, Shavan. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight on This Is Exclusive, we put the spotlight on the Afghanistan-Pakistan war. What many thought was absolutely unthinkable, whether at all the Afghanistan army could actually take on the Pakistani army. The reality, ladies and gentlemen, that yes, Afghanistan army has obliterated outposts that were being manned by the Pakistani army. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, only Indian news network with full details of the Afghan operation. Not just that, we also reach out to Afghan Taliban for their first response. What is it that they are really expecting from India? All this and much more only on Republic TV on This Is Exclusive. Let me first take you through the headlines we are tracking at this hour. Afghanistan strikes back on Pakistan, says strikes conducted close to Islamabad and Pakistan. Afghan military in a midnight retaliatory offensive tactic demolished Lashkar camp along Durand line.
कोर्ट ने लगभग 600 पेज के आदेश में सारे सबूतों और सारे गवाहों को मद्देनजर रखते हुए ये कहा है कि इतना भी सबूत नहीं है, इतने भी गवाहों के बयान नहीं है, एक निक्का सा भी सबूत नहीं है कि इसमें मुकदमा तक चलाया जा सके।
In a big relief to Aam Aadmi Party, former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal gets a massive relief from the Rouse Avenue court. Arvind Kejriwal and all accused in the liquor scam have now been discharged. In a grand showcase of aerial might, President of India makes history by flying in the indigenous light combat helicopter Prachan at the Jaisalmer Air Show. Tensions along the Afghanistan-Pakistan border have dramatically escalated after Afghanistan launched a large-scale retaliatory military campaign late last night. The action comes days after Pakistani airstrikes on 22nd of February, which Afghan officials claim killed 17 civilians and hit residential areas and religious schools. According to Afghanistan's defense ministry, coordinated assaults were launched across 8 sectors along the Durand line between 9 o'clock in the evening and 1 o'clock in the morning, that is India time. The cross-border offensive was led by Afghanistan's 203 Mansouri Corps and 201 Khalid bin Walid Corps, with the Afghan Chief of Staff Muhammad Fasiuddin Fisrat reportedly supervising the operations overnight. Both sides presenting sharply conflicting casualty figures and battlefield claims. The situation along the Afghanistan-Pakistan frontier remains volatile and fast evolving. Over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to take you through the full details of the operation that was carried out by Afghanistan, why it is extremely significant, because this time, unlike what we saw in October, reports essentially suggesting that the Afghanistan army basically crossed over. 19 posts have been destroyed and about 55 Pakistani soldiers have been killed. We're going to take you through the details in a short while from now, but this is a quick report for putting this into perspective as to what really happened in the last 24 hours.
Pakistan-Afghanistan tensions erupt into a full-scale cross-border combat along the Durand line. Heavy gunfire tears through the night as the war intensifies. Just past midnight, Afghan forces deploy artillery systems in a coordinated offensive tactic. Smoke spills out from damaged military camps, debris scattered across border posts. The escalation follows notorious Pakistani military activity along the Durand line. In response, Afghan units demolished 19 outposts and 2 military camps. Over 55 Pakistani soldiers were killed with several others wounded. The 4-hour operation from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. IST targeted multiple sectors. Afghan officials claim that a drone strike destroyed a joint facility in Surghar, Khyber district used by Lashkar-e-Toiba. The cross-border offensive was led by Afghanistan's 203 Mansoori Corps. Pakistan responded with artillery, rockets and drone strikes under Operation Ghazab-Lil-Haq. Pakistan resumed airstrikes on facilities in Kabul, Kandahar and Paktika. By 5:30 a.m. IST, Afghan forces launched fresh offensive along the Spin Boldak Chaman and Helmand Baramcha axis. As war intensifies, it is needed to be seen how other stakeholders will act in this offensive rollover.
Well, let me now take you through the details of the operation, something that the Pakistanis have essentially been hiding. What is the kind of casualties that have been inflicted upon the Pakistani army? The reality is this, ladies and gentlemen. Afghanistan has now made the claim, striking Pakistan close to Islamabad and Abbottabad, 2 major Pakistani cities. Afghanistan claims that 55 Pakistani soldiers were basically killed, 19 Pakistani outposts were destroyed. The 4-hour operation was carried out between 9 o'clock in the evening and 1 o'clock in the morning Indian time, focused on Pakistani military infrastructure along multiple segments of the Durand line, including Paktia, Khuram, Kunar, Bajor, Nangarhar, Turkham, Khost and Miran Shah, Paktika, South Waziristan and Nuristan. These are the areas that we are now given to understand. This is the axis that was basically targeted. What am I going to show you right now are the places that were basically targeted by the Afghanistan army. Interestingly, what we are being told is that drones were also basically used by Afghanistan. For the longest time, we were given to understand these are commercially procured drones by Afghans, but now details emerging that they are sophisticated drones which are basically equipped with mortar system, which means that the payload is higher, which means the kind of damage that they can inflict is far more, and also entering Pakistan, they can basically carry out more precision attacks. Now, which are the areas that we are really looking at? Durand line, what they basically say, Afghans say that this is a hypothetical Durand line, something that is not accepted by the Afghans. Pakistan insists that this is the border. Now, that happens to be one bone of contention between both the countries. Interestingly, these are areas in Afghanistan that you see: Paktika, Khost, Nangarhar, Nuristan, Kunar. That's along the entire Durand line where you see the hostilities have now increased. Which are the areas that you're looking at here? South Waziristan, Turkham, Bajor, Miran Shah. These are the places where has been attacked. About 19 outposts, Pakistani outposts, have been targeted. What we are picking up is typical of what Pakistani army has done in the past. That is, leaving behind their own. Pakistan army has essentially left behind their soldiers in these very outposts. Can we also move ahead? Because these are Pakistani military infrastructure which has been completely obliterated by at least 2 specialized units of the Afghanistan army. The army which has essentially been able to perhaps carry out intense training in the last few months. Let me now take you through more details that are basically emerging. This is after satellite imagery study that has been done. Details emerging, the big setback that the Pakistanis have had. Not just this, Afghanistan has also destroyed Lashkar-e-Toiba and Islamic State Khorasan, ISK's terror camps, in a drone strike in Pakistan. Afghanistan officials also reported that a joint facility allegedly used by Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Islamic State Khorasan. Can we just put out the breaking news? Just to put out, this is Lashkar terror camps that have been destroyed. Lashkar terror camps that have been destroyed in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, as well as ISK was destroyed in a drone strike, basically conducting using a Kochek platform, which is a software that is basically used. It is equipped with a mortar system. We'll try and see if we can go across to my colleague Gursimran, also helping me to break this down. And in a short while from now, we'll also be joined by a Baloch leader. In fact, on your screens right now, we're going to stay with this. Lashkar camps that have been destroyed, that too in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. And this is in Skrood area is where we are being told that this has happened. In fact, let me bring in my colleague Gursimran while we stay full frame with all the details here. Gursimran, I'm told that Lashkar-e-Toiba and ISK, Islamic State Khorasan's camps have been targeted by the Afghanistan army. And the very fact that this is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa where these precision strikes were carried out by the Afghanistan army. First of all, how exactly did the Afghan army really manage this?
Sishawan, it was very clear from the last briefing that of 2025 when Zabiullah Mujahid held a press briefing and said that we are well aware of how Islamabad is being used as the training camp for the Islamic State Khorasan, and he said that from there the fighters are trained and then sent to the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, then to enter the Afghanistan to carry out the strikes inside Afghanistan. So he was very clear that they know the heart of the Pakistan is being used to train these rebels and these terrorists of IS, Islamic State's Khorasan, and they said that we will hit them, and this time they have proved it to be. Along with ISK, it was the Lashkar-e-Toiba terror launch pads that are being operated. Now as we speak, there are multiple strikes that have taken place, at least 4 locations is what the Afghanistan has come out with the details, including in Islamabad, including the one in the Abbottabad, and also in Nowshera and Jangrod. These are the 4 places that they have it, including the terror facilities that are being used by the Pakistan. But this also has pushed Pakistan on completely back foot, reason being that the airstrikes that they have carried out using the drones, their air power they have shown, and also their air defense system that thwarted multiple attacks from the Pakistani side since yesterday night. So that is why we saw a rattle press conference also by the DGISPR in which Pakistan has admitted that they have so far lost 12 soldiers.
Yeah.
This
in
is
fact,
what the numbers they have come out in open, and they have also claimed.
Right. Gursimran, I'll just request you to stay on with us because I have picked up more details of the full operation that has been carried out and what exactly has been achieved in this midnight operation. Now, following the initial 4-hour operations and as the tensions further intensified, Afghan forces reportedly launched additional offensives. Now, it is important to highlight that around 5:30 this morning, along the Spin Boldak Chaman area and Helmand and the other axes here, these axes were essentially targeted, expanding the confrontation to 8 Pakistani sectors. So targets Spin Boldak axis has also been targeted. Let me now take you through some of the details that we have in terms of how it all started. The Durand Line war that we are calling. 9 o'clock in the evening, India time, and 1 o'clock in the morning is when Afghan's 4-hour cross-border operation was carried out. Now, Immediately thereafter, Pakistan also carried out their operation, what they call Ghazab Lil Haq. Now, let me just take you through some of the details that we have accessed in terms of which are the units that participated in this entire operation and what was targeted. In fact, Afghanistan launched what is being seen as a retaliatory military campaign against Pakistan. Now, between 9 p.m. and 1 o'clock in the morning, they basically focused on Pakistani military infrastructure along multiple segments of the Durand line, which includes Khorram Axis, Kunar, Bajor, Nangarhar, Torkham, Khost, Miranshahr, Paktika, South Waziristan and Nuristan Dir areas. Now, Afghan officials also reported that a joint facility that was used by Lashkar-e-Toiba as well as Islamic State Khorasan, as I just pointed out a short while ago, they were also targeted. Now, this cross-border offensive was actually led by Afghanistan's 203 Mansouri Corps and 201 Khalid bin Walid Corps, and Afghanistan's Chief of Staff, Mohammad Fishuddin Firsat, was the one who was basically taking charge of it. Now, Operation Ghazab Lil Haq is what Pakistanis say that they started a little after 2 o'clock in the morning when Pakistan resumed air operations, striking military facilities in Kabul, Kandahar and Paktika using fighter jets and drones. They, we are being told, had targeted 203 Mansouri camp in Paktika, 205 Al-Badr Corps in Kandahar, and 313 Central Corps in Badri Brigade. This is in Pulachakri, which is closer to Kabul, where we are given to understand these strikes were carried out. Now, in terms of casualties, there are conflicting numbers really coming in. Afghan officials claim that 8 soldiers were killed, 13 wounded in the subsequent airstrikes that were carried out. A total of 55 soldiers have been killed here. They've also reported that 11 civilians who have been injured after a Pakistani drone allegedly struck a camp housing displaced persons in Paktika. Let me just quickly take you through some of the responses now coming in. This is the first response coming in from the Afghan army. Now, Afghan army, in fact, has said that Afghanistan strikes were retaliatory in nature. These were retaliation in the attacks that were basically carried out by the Pakistani army, but a clear dare that they are going to carry this out once again if Pakistanis do not learn a lesson. Now, this is the first exclusive response coming in from an Afghan soldier.
د پاکستاني ځواکونو له لورې په ننګرهار او پکتیا ولایتونو کې د هوایي بریدونو د غچ اخیستنې په موخه باندې همدا شیبه د جمعې شپه 8 بجې دي په شرقي زون کې د 201 خالد بن ولید رضی الله تعالی عنه قل اردو سرحدي او پیاده ځواکونو له طرف نه په ننګرهار او کونړ ولایتونو کې فردي کرښې تاثیر ما د پاکستاني ملیشو په پوستو باندې درنه غزا پیل شوه. خپل مجاهدین په دعاو کې یاد ساتئ. درنو هیوادوالو، د پاکستاني ځواکونو له لورې په ننګرهار او پکتیا ولایتونو کې د هوایي بریدونو د غچ اخیستنې په موخه باندې همدا شیبه د جمعې شپه 8 بجې دي په شرقي زون کې د 201 خالد بن ولید رضی الله تعالی عنه قل اردو سرحدي او پیاده ځواکونو له طرف نه په ننګرهار او کونړ ولایتونو کې فردي کرښې تاثیر ما د پاکستاني ملیشو په پوستو باندې درنه غزا پیل شوه. خپل مجاهدین په دعاو کې یاد. درنو هیوادوالو، د پاکستاني ځواکونو له لورې په ننګرهار او پکتیا ولایتونو کې د هوایي بریدونو د غچ اخیستنې په موخه باندې همدا شیبه د جمعې شپه 8 بجې دي په شرقي زون کې د 201 خالد بن ولید رضی الله تعالی عنه قل اردو سرحدي او پیاده ځواکونو له طرف نه په ننګرهار او کونړ ولایتونو کې فردي کرښې تاثیر ما د پاکستاني ملیشو په پوستو باندې درنه غزا پیل شوه. خپل مجاهدین په دعاو کې یاد ساتئ.
Well, in fact, with deep resources in Afghanistan, we've also been able to place a question before Afghanistan Taliban with regards to whether at all there is certain expectations that the Afghan Taliban has from India. In fact, there is a response coming in where Afghanistan Taliban basically recognizes the efforts that have been made by India, the strategic depth that basically India enjoys in Afghanistan at this point in time, and the equation that they have had. Now, the first response that has come in from the Afghanistan Taliban with regards to whether at all they are seeking any sort of response from from India. In fact, they say that Afghanistan has a good relationship with India, but once again, this fight is a fight between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and India's support is welcome, but at the same time, there is a warning that is being sent, and this warning is being sent to Pakistan if they target Afghan civilians. They say that they will be targeting army's bases like they have done today. In a short while from now, we'll also have a reporter from Kabul joining us. I just want to quickly take you through this clip that we have got from our reporter when we placed this question before Zabiullah, the spokesperson of the Afghan Taliban, and this is what he had to say, saying that Afghanistan has a very good relationship with India. Let's play this right from the beginning.
اسلامآباد، نوشهر، جمرود او ایبټ کې د پاکستاني پوځیانو په تاسیساتو باندې پریکنده هوایي ګزارونه ترسره کړي. الحمدلله اهداف تر ډیره مشخص لیستل شوي او له منځه وړل شوي دي او له زیانونو سره دا پیغام هم لري چې د افغانانو لاس هم د دوی ګریوان ته ورسېدلی شي. باید یادونه وکړو چې همدا اوس هم د پاکستاني اړخ کشفي الوتکې د افغانستان په فضا ګشت کوي. همداراز نن سهار هم بیا پکتیا، پکتیکا، خوست، لغمان او کونړ کې هوایي بریدونه کړي دي چې ډېری ځایو کې ملکي خلکو ته زیانونه او تلفات اړولي دي.
Well, in fact, for the Pakistan army, it has been a larger concern, keeping in mind there have been growing hostilities in Balochistan. And the fact that with the number of strikes that have actually taken place, with several Pakistani soldiers being killed in the action that has been carried out by the Baloch rebel army. The response of the Balochis, where they seem to have now come in full support of Afghanistan. In fact, we are going to now be joined by a senior leader as far as the Balochistan Free Movement is concerned. In fact, he's joining us from Finland, getting us the perspective as to what exactly it means for the Balochis to basically carry out. Mala Baksh Mari is joining us. Mr. Mari, thank you very much. For the Balochis, how exactly do they really look at this current situation? Because it seems the Pakistani army is also losing out in Balochistan with the number of attacks that have been carried out in the last few months itself. Are the Balochis coming out in full support of the Afghans?
Thank you so much. First of all, I tell you that we are not Baluchis, we are Baloch. And other thing that Balochistan is suffering because Pakistan had done many bad things to our people, and they killing dump policy and forced disappearance, and our women and children are in the prison. And now the Afghan Pakistan at war with the Afghanistan. And I think this is the big mistake of Pakistan. And Pakistan always make mistakes, and then he run to their bosses and America and other. Then they say, okay, now you can save me. And I hope Pakistan will learn a lesson to this, that they can make a war with Afghanistan.
Smarit, I'll request you to stay on with us because I want to quickly go across to our reporter-only Indian News Network, having a resource in Kabul right now. Hashmat, thank you very much for joining us. And in fact, you've placed that question before Zabiullah. I want you to help us understand what is it that Zabiullah had to say when you asked this question about whether at all they're looking at India's assistance. China has already called for a ceasefire here. United States of America is closely monitoring the situation. Hashmat, what's the situation currently in Kabul, and how exactly did they respond to the India help that is being extended?
Good evening, Charles. Let me to have a citizen before answer these questions. As you know, many days before, Pakistan Army targeted civilians' houses in Nangarhar and also in Paktiar and many places of Afghanistan. Then Afghan government decided that have a reaction on this. Last night, 8 o'clock, from many sides of Afghanistan and Jurul line, Taliban Defense Army has targeted Pakistan Army bases and checkposts and Nangarhar, Helmand, Kandahar, and Nuristan, Kunar. And fortunately, the Pakistan Army have lost dozens of their armies and also injured, and many of bodies have Taliban bring it in this side from Durland, and also Taliban have get many equipments from the Pak Army. As we asked Zabiullah Mujahid, the spokesperson for Islamic Emirat, he already answered, and he said that India is our friend, and we have good relation, like he mean economic and political relation with India. But as we asked about that, as Pakistan said that they are India supports TTP or ISIS in Afghanistan against the Pakistan, he reacted on this and he said no, never. We have good relations with India, and also we want good relations with any neighbor country and other countries. But Pakistani army have targeted our civilians places in Afghanistan, and that was because that we targeted Pakistan army bases today in Punjab and many cities of Pakistan.
Well, thank you very much, Hashmat and Mr. Murray, thank you for joining us on this broadcast and putting this into perspective. It seems that it is far from over. In fact, Afghanistan has now made a stunning claim that Pakistan is essentially begging for a ceasefire. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is the Exclusive, getting you all the details of the war that is taking place along the Durand line. All this and much more on the other side. Trending coming up.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा,
राजा प्योर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोवुड का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी है, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है। यानी ये है जहाँ नो टेंशन वहाँ।
प्रीमियम प्लस बाय सेंचुरी प्रोवुड।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
Now here's the reality, it's fact not fiction. You are sitting on a plane. You're boarding the plane in the national capital of India for Leh at 6:08 in the morning. It's a SpiceJet plane. 6 minutes into the take, against the backdrop of daybreak and a beautiful sunrise, you suddenly look to your right towards the wings and you see the flames of fire on the wings of the plane. Your plane is on fire. Ladies and gentlemen, these are real visuals. This is the reality that the Civil Aviation Minister does not want you to see. This is the reality SpiceJet does not want you to see. This is the reality DGCA does not want you to see. Because at the cockpit, at that very moment while you're sitting in the plane, there are calls of Mayday, 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 Mayday. That is a flight emergency. The flight circles back. There's engine failure in one of the engines, lands at 6:49 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, and as you get off the plane, you realize this is the same SpiceJet.
प्रदीप जी, ये 8 साल का बच्चा कोमा में है, पुलिस 5 दिन से कुछ नहीं कर पाई है अभी तक। वो जो पिस्टल है, लाइसेंस पिस्टल है, वो तक बरामद नहीं कर पाई है। आपके विधानसभा के लोग हैं सर, जवाब मांग रहे हैं आपसे। प्रदीप जी, एक जवाब, आपके ही लोग हैं, आपसे बात। सर, एक बच्चा 8 साल का, आप बिल्कुल आप भोजन कर लीजिएगा। एक 8 साल का
अपराधी है, उसमें उसको सजा मिलेगी। पुलिस ने FIR दर्ज करा ली, वो लश्कर करेगी।
सर, 5 दिन हो गए बच्चा।
कोई बात नहीं है ना, पुलिस ने FIR दर्ज कर ली ना।
अभी 5 दिन में क्यों? क्योंकि अभी तक उनको वो लाइसेंस वेपन है वो भी बरामद।
विधानसभा में चली, विधानसभा से आई तो माता वैष्णो देवी चले गए। अभी कल लौटे, कल उसके परिवार के लोग आए थे।
आपकी उनके परिवार वालों से अभी तक बात हो पाई?
कल उन परिवार में संस्कार आया था, मेरे को नहीं पता क्या परिवार में है, लेकिन मैंने उनसे कहा कि जो भी मदद हुई करेगी।
Good evening, viewers. You're watching the latest edition of Trending Tonight with me, Rakshita Mishra. And today we're going to start with the row around this film Kerala Story 2. There's relief coming in from the makers. The ban has been lifted. We'll tell you more about it, what happened in the court. Story number 2 is the marathon at the Pangong Lake that also features our Fire and Fury Corps, the Indian Army. Story number 3 is President of India, Draupadi Murmu, the Supreme Commander of the forces, of our armed forces, taking a sortie in the LCH, the Light Combat Helicopter, Prachand, near the Indo-Pak border. Story number 4, protest in frog attire carried out against President of the United States, Donald Trump. We have all this and much more lined up for you in this edition. Let's get started. It was a powerful blend of symbolism and strategy. President Draupadi Murmu scripted history today, becoming the first Indian president to fly in an attack helicopter. That's the indigenously developed light combat helicopter, Prachand. Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces undertook a 25-minute sortie as a co-pilot from the Jaisalmer Air Force Station, that's near the Indo-Pak border, soaring over the desert frontier near the India-Pakistan border and the Pokhran firing range. Mid-air, the president delivered a live message as well to the nation, calling the Prachand a powerful symbol of self-reliance and saluting India's soldiers with a resounding Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. With stealth features, night attack capability, advanced avionics and lethal air-to-ground and air-to-air weapon systems, it strengthens India's operational edge along the mountainous and the desert borders. And at an altitude where the air is thin, temperatures plunge below -20 degrees Celsius and every breath feels earned. More than 450 runners laced up for one of the world's most extreme endurance events, the Pangong Frozen Lake Marathon 2026. Held on the glassy blue ice of the Pangong Tso in Ladakh, this high-altitude race push the athletes across distances from fun runs to a full marathon, turning the frozen lake into a surreal track of great resilience and breathtaking beauty. Branded by many as the last run, the marathon spotlighted climate change and the alarming rate at which the Himalayan glaciers and higher altitude lakes are melting, raising fears that fully frozen editions may not remain possible forever. The event also, of course, reinforced Ladakh's growing reputation as a global hub for winter adventure sports while promoting sustainable tourism in the fragile Himalayan ecosystem. And we have with us participants and the organizer of the event as well. We have one of the participants joining us live is Rajiv Jain, and Chambat Setan is the organizer. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Jain. If I could just come across to you first. This is, of course, a very, very challenging terrain and an atmosphere, isn't it? But tell us about your experience out there.
It's a really unreal experience. I mean, it is not about the altitude and the cold. Obviously, that is the most difficult part of the marathon, running in such an altitude and in minus 21 degrees. But also, it is about the whole journey when you have before running a marathon in that cold, where we went to Pangong, where there was no light from night 11 to 6 o'clock in the morning. So you're battling that cold and battling the altitude. Still, the spirit is very high of each runner to complete the marathon because they love this sport. And I would really appreciate the way Chamba and the team has done such an event is absolutely mind-blowing. And I think each and every runner has experienced this kind of feeling when they run on the frozen ice, which is unreal and unmatched. I have not seen any other marathon in this world doing this. So unreal, unbelievable experience running in Pangong.
Right, and Mr. Setan, you've been organizing this event and many such similar ones there. And this is called the last run. If you could just tell us why is it called the last run?
Yes, you rightly mentioned in the introduction because in place like Ladakh, where melting glacier is a major challenge, and we try to spread awareness about melting glacier, and we titled it the last run. The idea is to arm people about climate change, and we are trying to say that this could be the last run because it may not freeze again. So this is because of climate change. Himalayan glaciers are melting rapidly. Of course, for runners and hockey enthusiasts who play on these legs may not get to play again. I mean, that's sad, but more than that, your farmers and the pastoralists who depend on this high mountain rangeland will have severe problem in the times to come if glaciers keeps on melting at the rate it is melting now.
Right, sir. And even the Fire and Fury Corps of the Indian Army also, the Ladakh Scouts extended support. So how was it with the support of the Army? How has it been the experience and the response?
Yes, definitely. I mean, the Army has been part of us from the time we started. And in a border support of Fire and Fury Corps, it's very difficult logistically to do. I mean, we have been conducting this together for the last 3 years, and absolutely, I mean, together we are trying to promote rural and border tourism through such initiatives and some sort of an innovation in sport, if you can look at it. And this is the Asia's first and world highest marathon, frozen lake marathon, for which we have the record with the Guinness Book of Records.
Absolutely. Mr. Jain, I've been to Ladakh, and even walking up to the altitude, at times, you take time to even acclimatize to just survive there. Even as a tourist, if you go, or even for coverage, it takes at least 24 hours to, have your breath in place. What's the, the preparation like for someone who goes for a run at such high altitudes? Just quickly tell our viewers.
So a lot of people tell me, can they run? Can they go to Ladakh and run in 3 days? It's very important that you go to Ladakh, you follow the rules which is laid out by the organizing team, that you have to come at least 7 to 8 days before rest it out for 24 hours, and then you start acclimatizing for the next 7 days. And obviously there is a proper schedule which is laid out by the organizers. Every day you have to take a walk in the, maybe go to the market. Second day, they have taken us to Shanti Stupa, which is at a height where you climb 500 steps. And then they go to Pangongling, which is, a slightly higher altitude than Ladakh also. So you have to follow these rules to get acclimatized and then start running, which is very, very important.
Right, Mr. Jain and Mr. Setan, thank you so much for joining us on Republic TV and sharing your experience and insights on this very, very special run that's called The Last Run. And of course, has a message itself. Shifting focus now to the other stories that are running hot on social media today. It's time for the hot trends. Now, Vijay's wife Sangeeta Swarnalingam has filed for divorce after 27 years of marriage. In a petition under the Special Marriage Act, she has alleged adultery, claiming that Vijay was involved in an extramarital relationship with a fellow actor since 2021. Now, the plea also cites mental cruelty, public humiliation through social media posts and financial restrictions. The couple married in 1999 and they have 2 children. The Ravi Shankar Centre has refuted Rishabh Ricky Ram Sharma's claim of being a formal disciple of Ravi Shankar, Pandit Ravi Shankar. It said that 2012 string tying was informal, with only limited lessons before the maestro's health declined. The statement follows clarification by Anushka Shankar, the daughter of Pandit Ravi Shankar. Narendra Modi received a signed Father 5 poster from the cast of Father during his visit to Israel. Prime Minister shared a selfie with the actors Leo Raz, Avi Issacharov and Tsahi Halevi, and he also joked with them. And I quote, "Thankfully, this interaction required only a selfie, no undercover work," unquote. The meeting took place alongside official discussions aimed at strengthening India-Israel ties across key sectors. Kiran Rijiju, the Union Minister, took to the stage at the Nyokum Yulo Golden Jubilee celebrations in Arunachal Pradesh, surprising the crowd with a Bollywood song. The Union Minister performed alongside singer Mohit Chauhan during the festivities in Barming. The video on social media, you can see Rijiju was saying that he was very happy to sing for the loving people of the region. And Rashmika Mandana and Vijay Deverakonda made their first public appearance as a married couple at the Udaipur airport. The newlyweds waved and blew kisses to photographers, radiating post-wedding joy. Rashmika stunned in a red churidar, while Vijay kept it classic in a powder blue kurta set. The couple tied the knot on 26th of February in an intimate ceremony at the ITT Mementos Udaipur, following Telugu and Kodava traditions. The grand reception will be in Hyderabad, organized on the 4th of March. Priyanka Chopra has revealed she felt cornered in the Hindi film industry, saying that she needed to move abroad and survive emotionally and professionally. She described Bollywood as political and limiting at one point in her career. Her music phase between 2012 and 2013 opened global doors and eventually led her to Hollywood breakthrough with Quantico. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are reportedly set to marry on the 13th of June in Rhode Island. According to reports, the ceremony will take place at the Ocean House, with 13 Swift's favorite number marking the special date. The couple, who began dating in 2023 and got engaged last year, had earlier shared glimpses of their floral-themed proposal on Instagram. Dipinder Goyal